Okay, now then, we come back to this woman, Teresa Williams, so called, okay? We don't know her real name, but she's posing as Teresa Williams, speaking on behalf of her family relation, Tamia Taylor. Okay, now let's get a piece of paper. Let's see what she has to say in a moment. Right, stop sucking my pen, you. Come here. Now then, pardon me. Let's see what she has to say.
Well, her and her boys were down at the rally. Said it was a very peaceful rally. They were enjoying it, and the rally was just ending. And as the rally was ending and they turned to leave, they were one of the first crowds to leave. They began to hear. They heard the first gunshot. They didn't think much of it. It was just like, what was that? And after that first gunshot, she heard the second gunshot, and after that, it was just a lot of gunshots. She said they just came so fast and they wouldn't stop. They all began to run, scattered, and she said as she started to run, she caught a bullet in the back of her right leg. She immediately jumped on top of one of her boys, the 15-year-old. She jumped on top to cover him.
So she jumped on top of him. Now, having heard gunshots, she ran and jumped on top of one of her sons. Okay.
On the ground as she pushed him in between two cars and the curb.
She pushed him in between two cars and a curb. So she pushed him between two cars and a curb. Alright. Fair enough.
Her other three boys scattered and ran in opposite directions, so she lost three of her boys, didn't know where they were. She laid there, she said it was about 5 minutes before cops even got to her and pulled her from the...
So cops got to her after 5 minutes and pulled her... Go on, what was this?
Area where she was because the shots were coming so fast.
So she pulled her from the area she was because the gunshots came fast. Okay. Right.
Not even realizing she was really shot at the time. She was shielding her son for 5 minutes? For 5 minutes.
So she was shielding her son. Shielded her son for 5 minutes. Oh. Well, did she time it? Huh? Look at her watch. Okay.
Or anybody got to her and was able to pull her away.
What did she tell you about that moment where she was covering her child and the shots were being fired?
All she could think about was her other three boys.
So she can only think about her 3 boys. Nothing more. Okay.
Where are they at? She's not so much as...
Oh, that was cut. I mean, she's talking, she's half cut, but she's talking as though she's reading from a script. She's memorised part of a script. Now they've cut it, so has she forgotten her lines and they've had to remind her? Because it's cut. Why would they cut it?
Where are they at? She's not so much as worried about the gunshot wound that she has in her leg. She was more worried about, we're watching the news in the hospital room, and all she can do is say, Lord, be with those families of those police officers. And that's what she kept repeating.
Okay, you've heard that. Like this one here. Anderson Cooper. Hello, bud.
We were walking back. We had separated from the group.
Now this is Smiler here, okay? She's the one that's been shot, all right? This is Shatamia Taylor, who's been shot in the heel. Okay. And she's smiling and she's out of hospital, made a full recovery. Carry on.
From where they had ended their march, it was just really me and my boys on the block walking back towards the car where the car was parked. And that's when we realized that something was wrong when we heard a pop.
Oh, here we go. When I hear a pop, you're in a pig in America and you don't know what a gunshot sounds like. You just heard a pop. Well, it could be a can of pigging Coke being opened or a bottle being opened. Pop! What is it? Huh? Can't you tell the difference? You're in a pig in America again. If any place in this pigging world that you'd understand the sound of a gun, it'd be in America. Well, these boys, they're always saying in all this fake footage, not just Dallas, but every fake footage, a pop. Can't they change the pigging script? Smiler?
We were standing on the corner waiting to cross the street and we just heard a pop out of nowhere. Everybody just kind of looked, including cops, and we just weren't sure what that was or where it was coming from, and then there was a second pop. And
so you couldn't tell where
the officer.
You couldn't tell where it was coming from?
No, not. I can tell the direction of the sound, but not exactly where it was coming from.
And what happened then?
The officer, he started to slump over, and he yelled out, "He's got a gun."
Oh, so now you've introduced into this story, there's a cop, an officer, rather, she says, slumped over and said he's got a gun. Not in the other. You just ran and you dived on top of your son and the other three vanished. Now you've introduced a cop slumping.
Down, run, and that's exactly what we started to do.
Go back one.
And he yelled out, "He's got a gun. Get down, run." And that's exactly what we started to do.
Well, you didn't relate that to your mate in the hospital, Teresa Williams, did you? Eh? Can't keep these picking scripts right. Go on, Smiler. Huh?
Actually saw a police officer being shot.
Yes, sir.
And yet he'd been shot, and yet he was kind of yelling out instructions, warnings to everybody else.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you started, I assume you started running. What happened then?
Oh, dear.
I started running after I made sure my kids were in front of me. And as I was running, I hadn't even gotten very far from that corner when I felt the bullet penetrate the back of my leg. And
Oh, so you knew you were shot. But according to your testimony to Teresa Williams, you didn't know you'd been shot at the time. And you got so much composure that you could look around. Oh, yeah, where are my kids? Under gunfire, eh?
I yelled out, "Well, I'm hit," and I don't know if my son...
Hey, I shouted out, laughing chops here, "I'm hit!" Well, why didn't you tell that to Teresa? Because you said to Teresa that you didn't know you'd been hit. Come on.
Heard me, or if my son just turned around to see where I was.
Let me just go back one and get it all in context.
I yelled out, "Well, I'm hit," and I don't know if my son heard me or if my son just turned around to see where I was. But he turned around to grab at me, and by then I was grabbing at him.
What about the rest of the kids?
Tackled him, I don't want to say tackled, but I threw him down into the street, and he kind of hit a car, and I landed on top of him and laid on him, and we were both in between the car and the curb. He had no...
So you weren't on the street. You were partly on the road and partly on the curb. Okay.
No idea. I don't believe he knew I was shot at all. Just like I said...
Just hang on a minute. What did you just say? Because so far you've said you were shot. You knew you were shot.
And laid on him, and we were both in between the car and the curb. He had no idea. I don't believe he knew I was shot at all.
Oh, right.
Just like I said...
It's cut again. Did she forget her picking lines? with this one as it was cut with the other one? Father. So he didn't know that you'd been shot, but you did, and then you told your mate Teresa Williams that you didn't know you'd been shot. Ooh-doo-doo-doo-doo. What a wondrous web we weave when first we practice to deceive the general public.
While I was giving praise and glory to God from my children being safe.
Now then, let's just go back to there a second. So she's on the top of her son, apparently the 15-year-old he was. Okay. So as I say, she's added the officer slumping down, having been shot. You were supposed to be waiting 5 minutes before any officers turned up. And then when the officers turned up, they pulled you out of the line of fire, and they didn't mention anything about the other officer and that they pulled him out of the line of fire just in case he was still alive and he could be recovered in hospital. That officer vanishes from your statement, dear boy. How can a pigging officer vanish from your statement?
And at him and tackled him, I don't want to say tackled, but I threw him down into the street and he kind of hit a car and I landed on top of him and laid on him and we were both in between the car and the curb. He had no idea. I don't believe he knew I was shot at all. Just like I said, while I was giving praise and glory to God from my children being safe.
Let's go back one.
I assume you started running. What happened then?
Sorry, she was the one that says the officer slumped.
I started running after I made sure my kids were in front of me. And as I was running, I hadn't even gotten very far from that corner when I felt the bullet penetrate the back of my leg. And I yelled out, well, I'm hit, and I don't know if my son heard me or if my son just turned around to see where I was. But he turned around.
Sorry, I haven't gone far enough back. Let's go back down to here.
This officer being shot.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
So, if you saw an officer being shot, let's go back even one further.
Get down, run, and that's exactly what we started to do.
So you actually saw a police officer being shot?
Yes, sir.
So you actually leave it out with your statement to Teresa Williams. Alright? How'd you do that? Oh dear, we all know it's a friggin' hoax when he's employed. Hey? Mr. Big Nose in Sandy Hook. Hey? Oh, we don't use green screen? Yeah, fine, fair enough. And then we catch him on a false background. Now, the cunning part about this, alright, is that he could have been telling the truth in Sandy Hook when he says that we so-called conspiracy theorists say that they were using green screen. And I was not using, we do not use green screen. I mean, as I say, he may have been telling the truth. Because it might have been blue screen, you see. So you see, he could tell the truth on one hand, but omit to admit that it was another form of screen. And it's always the omissions we've got to look out for with these boys playing mind games with us. And all this, as we said at the beginning of these footage, okay, when we started this pieces off, this is to endear the general public to the police, and she is doing the same. We'll just come back in a second.